Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and replay between EG Axslav, Evil Genius's Axslav, and oGs's STC here on Lost Temple. oGs STC spawning as the blue Terran player at the 9 o'clock position, meanwhile Evil Genius's Axslav spawning as the red Protoss. So Protoss versus Terran here on Lost Temple. I'm looking forward to this matchup as this is going to be ally spawns or close spawns once again. Close spawns close spawns play very differently on Lost Temple than cross spawns just because of the amount of teching and the ability to try to establish a third base. In addition, this center Xel'Naga Watchtower pretty much reveals all if any ground unit wants to make its way inside its base, so any sneaky play or any hidden play will have to be done using Metavacs or Warp Prisms. I don't know if I expect to even see Warp Prism play, as Warp Prism play hasn't really made its way into mainstream Protoss yet. Axslav currently just chrono boosting, getting up a strong economy here. He will be able to train up more probes. Essentially, every 2 chrono boosts allows a Protoss player to train up 1 additional probe in the same amount of time. On top of that, SCVs need to be surrounding a supply depot in order to build it, while Protoss units can just warp in a building and move along its merry way. Back here, the barracks has been placed down, and now because of this relatively short walking distance, Axslav is going to get an advantage here. He's going to use this 1 probe and start harassing this SCV that is trying to build. No, he's not harassing. Wow, why is he not harassing? No, deciding to instead harass this SCV. The SCV already got 2 quick hits in, so Axslav just deciding to look around inside the base to see if there is any gas being placed down. STC has not placed down any gas. So the options are only Marines at this stage, or perhaps an early expansion attempt. We now see this one SCV trying to deal some more damage against this one. And oh, very nicely done, placing down a supply depot to block it. This 1 probe may be able to get some damage onto the SCV, getting some damage onto the SCV. SCV is stopping and halting, and now in comes a Marine. So the Marine getting some damage now. That 1 probe down to 4 hit points, and I believe the Marine will not be able to catch up. No, but there is this 1 SCV here. So if this 1 SCV does try to move away, oh, the 1 Marine activating the Xel'Naga Watchtower instead, as that probe now has a decent amount of shields. And perhaps going to try to see if that Marine is staying there. It is staying there, and now just on patrol, sitting here. The Marine can see that patrol, that probe just patrolling and dancing in between those 2 locations. Another probe now coming in, able to warp in a pylon here as an SCV and a probe battling it out. The SCV does take a little bit of damage, and now that SCV needs to be very careful as this 1 probe now pulls away once again. This Marine didn't take any damage at all. This SCV has to just walk around on the inside of this base and trying to do more and more scouting. We do see a sentry now coming out, and a zealot just staying here. It should be on patrol, trying to see if it can get some damage onto that SCV. SCV may be able to escape 1 round of attack, and oh, able to escape with 9 hit points. So that SCV will be able to return home and mine more minerals. Marines now establishing an expansion over here with the help of a bunker. A tech lab is down. A 2nd barracks now being placed down as well. Currently mining off of 3 gas at the refinery on the north side of the base, getting further and further tech units. SCV gonna activate this Xel'Naga Watchtower, and this is very important for STC. And these Xel'Naga Watchtowers reveal the center portion of the map, and it also reveals if any SCVs or any probes try to set up an expansion on the south side of the map. We now see 1 probe that was trying to walk in, got a little bit too close to the bunker, once again taking a fair amount of damage, and now the Marines are on the move, perhaps to try to hunt down this probe. The probe needs to get the heck out of there. It is moving away, and that probe looks like, oh no, trying to reactivate the tower, and it's gonna get shot down. Down it goes. 3 Marines cleaning it up, but now in comes an army of sentries and zealots. Those Marines need to return back within the spacious bunker, the safe spacious bunker, and shoot back. Back here, we now see a Nexus currently warping in as well. The SCV, however, able to sneak its way through, and we do have a Warp Prism. A very early Warp Prism now will allow for perhaps a drop inside the base, but with only sentries and zealots and only powering off of 2 warp gates, I'm not exactly sure how many units can be warped in safely and effectively. 4 units here, plus these 2 allow for perhaps a 12 unit a 12 unit warp in, but he is currently supply locked. The warp prism not even bothering to do anything else, and now just gonna warp straight up onto the high ground, perhaps get some stalkers and shoot onto this high ground here. A scanner sweep would reveal it though, so let's see what exactly Axslav wants to do with those units. Warp prism can go into that phase mode. It can be warping in units in just a second, as we now see more units warping in here. So down over here, one stalker up on that high ground will be able to deal damage towards that SCV, and now you see the Marauders coming in, dealing damage towards this Nexus. In comes those force fields by Axslav. Nicely done. No additional force fields though, so that is a bit of a problem, allowing those units to escape. Stalkers and probes trying to join in on this fight as well. Multiple stalkers have been taken down. Marines and Marauders once again reinforcing, and those force field placements haven't been pristine, and that's really the problem in Axslav's army right now. Those force field placements haven't been perfect, as those Marauders have been able to deal a lot of damage. However, there is one stalker up on that high ground. The stalker did not get any kills at all, as an SCV perhaps moved away. Marauders and Marines still fighting here and now able to get some damage. However, not enough energy for another force field, and that is a problem, as Marauders are just using those stim packs very, very effectively to get some space, get some distance. Marauders need to turn around, get some damage. Sentries also coming in as well. It looks like though that Marauder may get taken down to 2 hit points already, and more Marines coming in once again. Another Marauder getting off that concussive shell, that Punisher grenade exploding in its back, slowing it down. So Zealots and Probes now being transferred over. Axslav is in a little bit of trouble, and trapping a couple Marines there. So 2 Marines lost in that fight. Army-wise, 725 versus 500. Very, very close battles. There is the gas battle, however. Axslav is significantly in the lead, as those sentries were trying to slowly push those Marines towards the narrow choke point here. Sentries, and now in comes some more force fields, forcing those Marauders to try to walk around. 5 force fields to take down 4 units. I don't know if that was really, really cost effective for energy, but anytime you can trade energy for units, that is generally a win-win battle. The Stalker now still up on that high ground. We should be getting up a scanner sweep in just a second to try to clear off that ledge. Axslav getting a decent amount of pressure. I wouldn't say a lot of pressure, but a decent amount of pressure here, as it's now trying to take down this bunker. It could just take down the bunker. Not quite sure why it isn't trying to take down the bunker. SCV now coming in to try to repair as well. That SCV will get taken down, and now this supply depot will fall as well. Supply locking STC. Another SCV coming over. So I guess that's one way to not become supply locked. Constantly lose units, but that is not what a good player should be doing. Marauders now trying to stim, getting the scanner sweep up onto that high ground, and that one Stalker able to run all the way to the back, but the distance is just too much. Stalker's now coming back in. Once again, a factory now up on that high ground will be able to get some distance and some sight up there, where Stalker's now trying to get some additional damage, and I'm not sure. I believe the life on those Stalkers have pretty much ended, as the factory is able to get, perhaps pull away, and now those Marauders able to shoot back up onto that high ground, get more damage in. No siege tanks with a range of 7. That factory just needs to give sight. It doesn't need to get that close in order to actually take damage from those Stalkers there. We now, STC now trying to fight back once again. One SCV will get taken down. Ooh, a bunker with that range of 7. It was able to get some damage, and in comes a medevac. Now the medevac was almost drop units up onto that high ground, and that warp prism finally deciding that it is no longer safe, decides to run away. One Stalker quickly getting taken down there, and all these units will be able to live and fight another day. So Axslav getting a lot of mileage and a lot of harassment off of those 4 Stalkers there. One warp prism with essentially or initially a 0 cargo was able to just hamper and force STC to sit inside his base for quite some time, using some scanner sweeps as well. Vikings now on the move with medevacs, Marauders, and Marines. Production-wise, there are Immortals being trained, but those Immortals are going to be there solely to try to counter the Marauders. No Colossi means that Axslav needs to get a lot of force fields down. You can see that there is decent amount of energy, perhaps 3 force fields per sentry, and that is going to be a lot of damage to be had. Vikings now looking perhaps for some additional warp prisms, hunting for that warp prism. The warp prism, however, gonna land perhaps in this location, warp in some Stalkers, and then get some damage in here. We are getting the Zealot leg upgrades. The level 1 weapons upgrade has not been completed, so we are getting the ground armor before the weapons upgrade. That is not standard Protoss play most of the time. Most Protoss players like to get the weapons upgrade first, and oh, Vikings taking a fair amount of damage. In comes that scanner sweep, the scanner sweep shooting down that observer, and the Viking was still able to survive there, so nicely done, realizing that there was an observer in the air just because the Stalkers were able to get sight. Marauders now coming in, and the Marauders, if they drop, are going to have a very, very bad day. Yeah, dropping, taking a lot of damage once again. Force fields now coming in, unable to blink up onto that high ground, but still able to get some damage in there. One observer still looking at this army on that high ground. A lot of Marines and Marauders still sitting by the Zelnaga watchtower. Here's that warp prism. oGs has to see that warp prism there. I can't imagine that he can't see it. It's in broad daylight. And for some reason, yes, finally a Viking or two now making its way over. Warp Prism will get shut down, and down it goes. But that's what you get for warping in a Warp Prism here, as opposed to out of sight range here. Now Marauders now using that stim pack, able to get some damage on that assimilator. No observers in the air. So one Viking is all that there is right now, and now those Stalkers perhaps going to try to get some additional sight up there, able to get some force fields. Those Marauders unable to really retreat. The medevac not even bothering to return to pick up that poor Marauder, and down it goes. One Zealot now on patrol on that high ground, making it so that no more cliffing can happen. Back here, Marauders and Marines have found Axslav additional expansion attempt. One Stalker is here to try to intercept and meet and greet STC's Marine Marauder army that has been taken down, but Axslav now taking this opportunity while the army is away to do a push, and this may be effective as there is not that much of a standing army here, but he is not turning around. He is not engaging for some reason. SCV is coming off the mineral line, but he is not engaging, so perhaps he is going to try to see if there are any more Marauders and Marines as they're trying to return home. He's going to lose all of these Stalkers and Zealots though, so that was a complete mistake. They're losing those units pretty needlessly in that battle, as two medevacs are still just patrolling. There are a couple ghosts in the group as well. EMP shockwaves will be critical in trying to land on top of those sentries. EMP shockwave, the radius is not that high. Now we have a couple SCVs inside the medevacs. I'm not exactly sure what that's about, as the Ghosts now try to make its way out. The Ghosts are going to get an EMP Shockwave. There's one EMP Shockwave. No more energy. Another EMP Shockwave. But there was decent splits on that army, but so much of the Sentry army doesn't have energy any longer, and now oGs STC just simply moving in with a dominant energy force, able to get off a lot of damage. More units trying to warp in, but for 5 seconds they are taking damage as those Marauders and Marines fighting back and forth. Zealots now coming in from behind as well, so Marauders and Marines just trying to get back up to that ramp, trying to get in a decent position. Stalkers blinking up as well. Marauders and Marines doing a great job fending off the attack here as those probes try to walk up and take down these Marauders and Marines, but I believe STC using that high ground advantage and that narrow choke point against his opponent Axslav may be able to take this. And yeah, as these probes are getting taken down, Zealots now trying to come in as well. The Psystorm research, no, the Amulet research was not yet completed, unable to even warp in anymore, and now trying to get a Dark Shrine, but that is going to be too little too late as Axslav says GG. So oGs STC taking 2 games in this best of 3 series, and yeah, able to win this. Really, really well played. I really enjoyed this series. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.